Growing up as a child, I was always told to get the correct answer, you must ask the correct question. I'm going to give you all a really short story about myself. So when I was younger in my early teens, I used to wear contacts. These contacts were, they looked good on me, right? They complimented me very well. And so everywhere I would go, I would hear the same question, people asking, are those your real eyes? And when people ask that question, I would very honestly reply and say yes, because these are my real eyes. Had they asked what they really wanted to know, had they asked the correct question, and that was, is that the actual color of your eyes? And then I would have very honestly replied, no, this is not the actual color of my eyes. So again, to get the right answer, you have to ask the right question. So this takes us to this video. I want to ask the question today, why is it that we're being told that Jesus is black? Why now? Why is it so conducive? Why is it so critical that we know now that Jesus is black? That is my question. If you have an answer, go ahead and get in the comment section. But I'm going to go ahead and start this video.
Do you even got?
What do you worship?
Well, I don't really worship anything, but I do devote myself to the advancement of humanity using technology. And it does beg the question, if there is some superconsciousness, where did the superconsciousness come from? So I think the most likely explanation is that complexity evolved from simplicity. That the simple elements over time combined to become more complex and arrived at what we are.
Mm-hmm. Can science and religion coexist?
Probably not.
Do you pray?
I don't. I didn't even pray when I almost died of malaria.
Wow, that's really not praying.
Right.
You put your money where your bug spray was.
Yeah.
You're blowing my mind. You deal with so much stuff. I mean, you deal with space travel and energy and the source of consciousness, and you're thinking about all of these giant life's big questions. What blows your mind? What gives you awe?
Well, I think that, the nature of the universe gives me awe, and just the huge expanse of the universe, and how far away things are and how big they are. And the fact that there are things like supermassive black holes that are equal to 1 billion suns.
What about dark matter? Doesn't that freak you out too?
Yeah, and dark matter is also, dark matter, dark energy are kind of interesting, because I'm not sure what those actually are. People don't know what those actually are, and particularly dark energy. In fact, that may be an argument for this being a simulation, because in a simulation, you could just make things be however you want.
In a simulation, you could just make things be however you want.
The laws don't all have to be consistent.
Okay, how many people have actually read the Bible?
Fewer than probably say they have, but...
Oh yeah,
do you have
at one point, when I was a kid, I had this existential crisis, and I was trying to figure out what's the meaning of life. And I was like, oh, it all means nothing. It's all, and I read like a whole bunch of religious books, including the Bible, and I'm like, there's a bunch of things in there they didn't teach you in Sunday school. Sodom and Gomorrah, dark. Yikes. Yeah, God sure changes his mind from the Old Testament to the New Testament. I'm like, whoa, that's pretty vengeful in the Old Testament. Maybe we can have a chapter past Revelations. But is there a happy ending here? Revelations Part 2, the happy ending?
We're wondering if you could do us a quick solid and accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. Personal Lord and Savior. It's a quick prayer.
The thief cometh not but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. But I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. St. John 10, verse 10. Are there any questions?
Hey, watch it, baby. This cat is heavy on religion.
I can see this has become a struggle between good and evil. Satan has a question.
Yes, sir, Chaplain Gill, but since neither one of us are God, I don't think either one of us are in any position to say who's good and who's evil.
Why don't you just ask your question?
We were discussing the disciples. What color were they?
Well, I don't think we know that for certain.
But they were Hebrews, were they not?
That's right.
As was Jesus. Jesus was also a Hebrew.
Why don't you just ask your question?
What color were the original Hebrews?
I have told you that we don't know that for certain.
Then you can't believe for certain that Jesus was white.
Just a moment. God is white. Isn't it obvious?
Well, that is obvious, but we don't know if it's obvious that God is white. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that Jesus did not have blonde hair and blue eyes. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that the images of Jesus that are on prison walls and churches throughout the world are not historically correct, because history teaches us that Jesus was born in a region where the people had color. There's proof in the very Bible that you ask us to read in Revelation, 1st chapter, verse 14 and 15, that Jesus had hair like wool and feet the color of brass.
Just what are you saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm proving to you that Jesus was not, and I might quote one of our Indian brothers, he was not a paleface.
Aha.
Amen.
Isn't that interesting?
And so again, I ask, why now is it so important? Why is it so conducive for us to now know that God is black? When we've had this narrative pushed for, hundreds and hundreds of years that God is a white man. Again, I want to know, why is it important that we now know, or that narrative is now being pushed, that God is black? Why is it that you would push this narrative at a time when the churches are now empty? Why would this narrative be pushed at a time when people are now hating God? Why is it that this narrative would be pushed at a time when there are more atheists on this planet? Why would this narrative be pushed now at a time when there are more people questioning God's actions or inactions? There are more people that are hating God. Why then would this narrative now be pushed that God is black?
Believe in Jesus?
No, not religious.
Do you believe in Jesus? I'm kind of busy right now, sorry. Do you guys believe in Jesus?
Sometimes.
Please have to.
I don't like being approached by anybody for any of that.
I'm super busy right now.
Do you guys believe in Jesus?
Hey, knock it off!
Do you guys believe in Jesus? Sorry.
Yes.
How about you? Do you believe in him?
I'm not sure.
What are you up to, dude? You can't do that in here. What's the definition of soliciting?
I'm not getting into it with you. Please leave.
What if you say I can't solicit? There has to be a definition.
No, you can't do that. Let's go. I said it nicely.
I was asking people, do you believe in Jesus?
I know, and they're not here for that today. They're here to shop.
How about you? Do you believe?
Bothering customers?
I just got kicked out of here.
God by any chance?
Okay, what are these questions? Not written known, but yeah.
Okay, so do you guys have you guys heard about Jesus dying on the cross?
Yeah, I've heard about that. Wait, it's fine. It's weird. No.
What are your thoughts on Christianity?
Honestly, not my interest.
What are your thoughts on Christianity?
I didn't grow up Christian, so I don't know. I mean, they're cool, I guess. They're, I don't know, I grew up Mormon, so it's kind of pretty much the same thing.
Could it be that there was once a time when it was, more beneficial, it was more auspicious to push the narrative, that of God being a white man, when there was more believers here on the earth? There were more people that had faith. There was more people that was loyal to God, okay, and especially black people. So that in turn helped to keep up this psychological appearance that white was right. White, was more good. White is clean. White is pure. White is honest. White is virtues. White is morals. White is more dignified. White is more holy and righteous. Basically, white was more like God. It was more godly. And there was a time that black was thought to have been a curse from God. So I just got to ask, why then would you come forward now, Mr. Musk, at a time like this, a man who has been alleged to be a bona fide racist? Not necessarily my thoughts, but these are allegations that have been raised against you. Why are you coming forward bearing, historical gifts for blacks? It's just, mind-boggling just a little, Or could it actually be that, in your own words, because
in a simulation, you could just make things be however you want. The laws don't all have to be consistent.
Are you trying to simulate or create a system or a society where, because there are more people that are now hating God, there are more people that has disdain and distrust for God, and there are there's nobody actually that's loyal to God or faithful to God, right? There are more people that are rebellious and rebuking God. Now you align that energy with black people, right? And you say that God is black. Are you trying to deflect that negative energy now toward black people? Because we know that when God was at his highest, when God was at his peak, right? When there were people that were loyal, when there were more people that was faithful, when there were more people on this planet that loved God, that wanted to follow and worship God, it was conducive for him to be painted in the image of a white man. Now that everybody hate God and nobody's following God, nobody's believing in God, it's more conducive now to paint God as a black man. I don't know, I'm just asking for a friend, but I do know the Willie Lynch letter did say that every so many centuries, you guys would kind of have to twerk and readjust this systematic racist system, right? You guys would have to twerk that every so many centuries. And he said that you shave off the brute's mental history and create a multiplicity of phenomenal of illusions so that each illusion will twirl in its own orbit. Okay. And we know that brute is how they saw us, and some of them still see us as animals. We understand that mental history is talking about our mental health records, right? Our symptoms and treatments, our family history, the developmental and social skills, our strengths, our weaknesses, and the natural resources that we have innately to us, right? And I just want everybody to keep in mind, just note that simulation is mostly used by people that are trying to create a space that they can control presently and ultimately control the future outcome. So again, I ask, why the hell now is it important that we know that God is black? Hey everybody, I'm Unpopular. I'd like to ask you to go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Do consider subscribing to the channel if you are not already a subscriber. And I'd like to thank you all so much for watching my videos, and I'll catch you in the next one.